Hello friends, music lovers, Wes here checking in with a brand new episode of the Vinyl Survivor. Hope everyone's doing well, having a good day, good night, whatever it is when you're watching this. Hope you're doing well. Vinyl Survivor series, if you're not familiar with it, if you're new to the channel, the Vinyl Survivor series is where I talk about music that I recently purchased or pulled from my inbox and sort of new things to my ears, and I give you an idea of what I thought of each one and whether they're going to be something that I'm going to be keeping in my collection permanently or something that just wasn't for me and it's going to be going away. So this is kind of like my review show after I listen to things and give things a good solid listen to. So let's go ahead and get into this episode. 10 records up on the chopping block. First album we have here is the solo debut of Paul Warren. This is his album titled One of the Kids from 1980. Paul Warren was one of the original members of Rare Earth. He also toured with Rod Stewart and Richard Marx as a guitarist, and this is kind of his solo debut. This has a very Bruce Springsteen-esque Americana kind of sound to it, in my opinion. It's very commercial sounding. It's trying to go for that Americana Bruce Springsteen kind of thing. For that reason, me listening to this 30 years later, it doesn't work in my opinion. It just kind of sounds like a really bad copy of a Bruce Springsteen album. Inner sleeve there with liner notes and lyrics on it and a photo. And this is a white label promo on the RSO Records label. Pretty neat that it's a white label promo, but as I said, the music it's just a cheap copy of Bruce Springsteen in my opinion, and it just didn't do anything for me. So that was Paul Warren and the Kids. Not going to be staying in the collection. Number 2 here, we have the second album from the group Blouse. This is their album titled Imperium from 2013. Blouse started out as a dreamy synth poppy sort of band, which was really good. It's kind of up my alley. It's stuff I like to listen to. This album, they changed their sound quite a bit, and it went in a bad direction in my opinion. It got a lot more almost sort of grungy rock and roll with a little bit of electronics in it, but it's more just like a grungy indie kind of rock sound. All the songs sort of blend together. They all kind of sound the same. Never really gets anywhere. Just kind of plods along. It doesn't really do much for me. Pretty interesting artwork on this. I picked this up in the clearance bin at what's that hipster store that well, I can't think of it right now, but when we were up in Jacksonville last year, I picked up a bunch of stuff out of their clearance bin. This was like $5, and unfortunately it wasn't for me. I'd heard of Blouse before, and I heard of the synth poppy kind of stuff, and I thought, oh yeah, this would be good. And then when I actually sat down and listened to it, it just didn't work for me at all. This does have a poster with it, with lyrics on the poster, so it's kind of not exactly something you would hang on the wall, but it's always nice when they include extras in the record there. Some more sort of weird photography there, and then the record itself, just black vinyl. So yeah, Blouse Imperium 2013, another one that just didn't work for me. Too sort of boring rock and roll, not what they started out with. Went in a bad direction in my opinion, and not going to be staying in the collection. Alright, moving on back into the sort of 70s, I guess you could say, early 70s. This is Gary Wright and Spooky Tooth. That Was Only Yesterday. This is a compilation of Gary Wright solo work and Spooky Tooth stuff. 2 LP set, lots of songs on here. Really good sort of blues rocky kind of stuff here. Yeah, really did enjoy this quite a bit. A bunch of stuff, nice little liner notes here. A&M Records label. So yeah, Gary Wright, Spooky Tooth. Definitely recommend this one if you see it. If you're into this kind of stuff, 70s sort of blues rocky kind of stuff, it's enjoyable, and I liked it, and it is going to be staying in my collection. All right, next thing I have to talk about today is the second solo album from the Grateful Dead member Bob Weir. This is Heaven Help the Fool from 1978. This album is kind of very over-engineered, overproduced, very slick, sort of schlocky kind of sound. Songs on here just was not good in my opinion at all. Just lots and lots of studio stuff done on here. It just doesn't have a very organic feel to it at all. It's very overproduced. I haven't really spent any time listening to Grateful Dead music before, but from what I understand, this is not anything like Grateful Dead albums, a Grateful Dead album or a Grateful Dead music you would get. Inner sleeve has lyrics on it. This is on the Arista Black and Blue label. So yeah, Bob Weir, Heaven Help the Fool, second solo album. Yeah, maybe if you're a completist with Grateful Dead stuff and you even have to have the solo stuff, then maybe get this, but I can't really recommend it personally. It's not good at all. Did not enjoy it at all. It was a struggle to get through this. All right, next up we got another piece of sort of electronic night pop, guess you could call it, kind of stuff from the Chromatics. This is their album titled Night Drive from 2012. Another very sort of noir movie score, kind of modern synthy sound work kind of thing. Really interesting, something really cool to put on a late night, kind of just chill back and relax, and maybe you've had a few drinks already and you're feeling pretty good. Chrome embossing there, silver embossing. This, of course, is on the Italians Do It Better label. This one has a cover. The last one had a cover of Neil Young. What was it? I can't remember what Neil Young's song was. But this one has a cover of Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill. And it's actually another really interesting cover, unique, but very good. And I like the original, and I like this cover as well. And I'm not usually one that likes covers, but when the Chromatics do a cover, I kind of like it. So it's always cool that they include one on their albums usually. This is a 2 LP set, kind of on aqua and sort of a bone colored clear vinyl. Not too different from the last one I showed. And these are all done at Pirates Press, so they're done nicely. They sound good. Don't have any complaints about the sound quality or the pressing quality. And as I said, these are really cheap, directly from the label. I think they were around $15 a piece or so. So that's the Chromatics Night Drive. As I said, sort of a synthy, chill, noir kind of movie soundtrack kind of sound. Very, very echoey and sort of cool, and like I said, interesting, good stuff for a late night kind of chill out after you've had a few drinks kind of thing. So that one is staying in the collection. Definitely like that one quite a bit. Next up, another sort of electronic group, but a little bit different. And this is Mogwai with their, this is actually an EP from them titled Music Industry 3, Fitness Industry 1. This is an EP they did in 2012. Not 2012, 2014. Features 3 new tracks and 3 remixes of songs from the Rave Tapes sessions, I believe is what the album was from. If you're familiar with Mogwai, they blend sort of a very hard, rocky, kind of almost sludgy kind of sound sometimes, with more of a grungy kind of sound, but also a lot of electronic kind of sounds. They do a lot of different blending of different genres together, and it's a really cool group, and I really do enjoy Mogwai, and they have a very varied output. The opening track on here, Teenage Exorcist, is kind of a very grungy 90s rock song. Straight ahead, grungy 90s kind of rock song. It sounds like it's really interesting. It sounds like it could have been something from the 90s. And then the other two tracks are more electronic kind of stuff that Mogwai have been doing more recently. And then, as I said, on the second side, you get 3 tracks that were remixes from I believe, the Rave Tapes albums. You got Remurdered, remixed by Blank Mask, No Medicine for Regret by Pie Corner, and The Lord is Out of Control by Nils Fromm, which was the main reason I bought this. As I said, I've been getting into Nils Fromm a lot lately. Love his stuff, and it's awesome how it's obviously Nils Fromm. It has his sound on it, but it's a song that I've heard before from Mogwai, so it's kind of really weird to hear that mashup of it's Nils Fromm and it's Mogwai at the same time. It's a great remix, so really do like that. And this is a cool little EP, really reasonably priced too, which I was appreciative of, as they aren't always reasonably priced. Some more cool little geometric designs on the inner sleeve there. Kind of custom geometric designed labels here. I noticed that it does say Abbey Road in the dead wax on this, so I'm guessing this was mastered at Abbey Road FA. I don't know the mastering engineers at Abbey Road to know who FA is, but yeah, cool little EP from Mogwai. As I said, reasonably priced, and I recommend picking this up. It's sort of a very good introduction to Mogwai if you haven't checked him out before, or if you like Mogwai, you're going to like this. It's a win either way, so definitely staying in the collection and highly recommended. All right, next thing I have to talk about for today is definitely a masterpiece, an awesome piece of prog here. Killer album. Glad I finally added this to the collection. Found this at my local record store last year. Definitely grabbed it as soon as I could, and that is the 3rd album from King Crimson, titled Lizard, from 1970. This is their 2nd release in 1970, so they were just really prolific right there at the beginning, and just a killer piece of prog here. You can just kind of tell by the artwork. The artwork is awesome. I think some of these are supposed to be musicians. I think these are the Beatles up here. Looks like maybe Santana down here. Really cool artwork on this one. Definitely heavy use of the mellotron on this one, which is an instrument I really love to hear, and really cool. Kind of a plain interior on this one. Just some lyrics and liner notes. And yeah, I don't really know what to say about this one. It's very jazz influenced, but progressive, prog rock, jazz kind of stuff. Lots of mellotron. Really sort of, it's an album that's meant to be listened to all in one piece, and it kind of flows together really nicely, and it has sort of ups and downs and peaks and valleys and all that kind of stuff, and it moves around, and it's just a really great experience, and I'm just loving King Crimson. So glad to have this in the collection. Highly recommended if you can find it. Not necessarily a cheap album, but not real expensive either. I think I paid $12 for this, which is a pretty good price. If you look around, you can find it for a good price. So King Crimson Lizard 1970, staying in the collection and highly recommended. All right, next up, and the last of the Chromatics albums for a while. This is their album from 2013 titled Running from the Sun. Once again, very noir, electronic, dreamy pop kind of music. Late night kind of stuff. Again, they did the foil stamped backing on this one, but just an artistic design there, almost kind of like a wood cutting kind of design. It's pretty neat. And this one is on just a gold colored, sort of smoky translucent vinyl. Pretty nice release there. Chromatics, Kill for Love, staying in collection, and definitely like the Chromatics. So if you like that kind of late night, dreamy, echoey pop kind of music, check them out. Female vocals on those, that kind of thing. Next up, moving back into the jazz realm, I got an awesome piece of jazz here. This is Freddie Hubbard's Skydive from 1972. Awesome, awesome album. I didn't know what I was getting into. This was kind of a blind buy for me, but I knew, Freddie Hubbard is awesome. This also has George Benson, Keith Jarrett, Hubert Laws, Ron Carter, Billy Cobham. Airtoe is on here. Just an awesome lineup. This is a killer album. Doesn't have any kind of like orchestration on it. It doesn't have that sort of CTI cheesiness to it. This is just awesome, straight ahead, great. It's sort of straight ahead jazz, but it moves a little bit. It goes into a little more of a free jazz areas in places. Is the CTI label on that one. There's Van Gelder and the Dead Wax. And yeah, just an awesome piece of jazz, and very accessible but quality. Doesn't get too freaky and free, but it just jams along really good, and it's just a really good album. So highly recommend this one, and staying in my collection for sure. Freddie Hubbard's Skydive, 1972. And last but definitely not least, we have an album by Patrick Gleason. This is his composition, electronic compositional work of the Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. Patrick Gleason is an electronic musician. This is from 1982. This is sort of an early composition done on a computer, where you could actually program different sounds and noises to happen. Kind of cool. It gives a lot of information about the computer and stuff that was used to make this, and how it's programmed, and how it can be manipulated, and how the sounds can be manipulated, and really interesting work here. Patrick Gleason taught Herbie Hancock the synthesizer, so that's how that sort of Herbie Hancock got into that mixing synth work with jazz and stuff. So it was pretty cool, and he was sort of inspired by Wendy Carlos. So there's sort of that progression there. This is on the Varis Sarban label. So yeah, Patrick Gleason, the Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. If you're into early synthesizer work, on the surface this stuff can sound kind of cheesy, but if you actually sit down and listen to it and realize what's actually happening here, and that they're actually creating these sounds, building these sounds and putting them together, and sort of sequencing things, and it's a really interesting piece to listen to and experience, and I'm really glad I got this. I had to go on to Discogs to get this one. I don't know if I'll ever find it in the wild, and I definitely wanted to have it, so picked that up. It wasn't super expensive, but glad I have it, and it's a cool piece to have in my electronic music collection. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Vinyl Survivor. I think only 7 albums survived this time, so I had a few that weren't so good for me, but overall it was a good experience and some really good finds in this one. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Leave me some comments. Please subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you again next time. Have a great day. Cheers.